I wasn't really planning on talking about this because we're right in the middle of a major release for our game engine, Hazel, and it feels a little bit weird talking about, the controversies of another game engine. But you guys really wanted me to talk about it, and I could honestly use a bit of a break from programming and setting up automated testing, which is what I'm doing at the moment. And one of my goals with this channel is just to be a little bit more chill, a little bit more, like let's talk about stuff. So here goes. I'm going to talk about Unity and their new pricing situation and what my thoughts are about that, as well as what Hazel's plan for monetization and pricing will be in the future. Okay. Where do we begin? So about a week ago, I guess, Unity announced that they would be changing their pricing model, their existing pricing model, to essentially introduce some kind of royalty fee. Now, the fact that they're effectively trying to get more money is really no surprise. The company has been unprofitable for like ever, and in their latest quarterly earnings call, they cited a strong quarter because they lost $192 million instead of around 250. So the point is, Unity as a company is still very much in the negative. They're making like $500 million per quarter, which sounds great, but then their operating costs are around 700. I kind of want to talk about that. Because that just blows my mind. A few years ago, before I had any interest in Unity's business moves and their financial situation, I would have thought that Unity was a profitable company because their product is extremely popular and seemingly not that big of an operation, or one would think that it's not the most complex piece of software in the world. You could look at something like Adobe and their whole suite of tools and be like, yeah, that's probably a large software company. But Unity, yeah, it's a game engine. Game engines are complicated, but Unity is not the most complicated game engine in the world, right? It should be, you wouldn't expect anything huge, yeah? Up until I discovered that they have 7,700 employees. Why? What's going on? I think EA has about 10,000 worldwide, and EA is a billion-dollar company who not only makes their own game engine, which in terms of technology is vastly superior to Unity. I should know, I worked on Frostbite. But then apart from the engine, they make all the games. And they are profitable. They had $2 billion of revenue last quarter last year with a net income of $402 million. That's a profit margin of 20.8%. So a net income of $402 million. And yet Unity's is minus $192 million. Okay, it's not actually 10,000 employees, it's 12,900, sure. But my point still stands. Why does Unity have so many employees? What do they do? Perhaps a better comparison would be Epic Games, right? They have 3,700 employees. 3,700 Epic Games, 7,700 Unity. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why Unity needs that many people. Ugh, honestly, I don't even know where to start with this video. I have so much to say. Let me maybe just make a quick little disclaimer though, that these are my thoughts. This is not a fact-checked video. I will be Googling things as I go along because I don't want to get numbers wildly wrong. But these are more or less my thoughts. And as I mentioned, we're in the middle of a serious Hazel release at the moment, so I'm not taking time to research this. This is literally my lunch break right now, and I thought I would just record a little video. Okay, so I suppose we should start with the actual pricing situation, since that's what we're kind of talking about. What has Unity done? They want to make more money, as we just talked about. Their huge amount of employees, their negative financial situation. I'm sure they don't just spend money on employees and staff, obviously. They have acquisitions like Weta, which we should maybe talk about that because I don't understand why they did that. I don't think they deserve Weta, to be completely honest, but anyway. Ugh, what a passionate lunch break. In an effort to make more money, they have decided to introduce this thing called a runtime fee. And this runtime fee is essentially ranges from around 20 cents per install of a Unity product, I imagine, like a game that a studio or a developer has shipped. Every time that game gets installed, Unity gets 20 cents of a royalty fee. Now that's the highest amount, and that's only if you cross some kind of threshold of how much revenue you've earned in the last 12 months, and also an install count kind of threshold as well. Now, if you have a different edition of Unity, Unity Pro or Unity Enterprise, that fee drops a bit to 15 cents and 12.5 cents per install respectively, and then drops even further as you cross over 100,000 installs and beyond. Now, this, just to be clear, on paper, the cost to the developer is not actually that high. And since there is a revenue threshold, this obviously means that games that are, for example, free to play or extremely like cheap, like if I sell a game for $1, that doesn't mean most likely that I pay 20 cents, 20% to Unity, because if I'm reading this right, I wouldn't, I mean, if I had Unity Personal or Unity Plus, I guess I would be. But if I had a Unity Pro, which we can talk about later, then I'd be paying like, you know, for 1 million installs, let's just say, because they're so cheap and I'm making $1 million only from 1 million installs. And of course, there's like, you know, cuts from whatever platform you're doing it on. So it's not going to be $1 million, but let's just say it is 3 cents per install. So from that kind of dollar, you know, I'm potentially getting 3 cents or even 2 cents per install if I have Unity Pro. And I'll put the table up obviously so you guys can see. So that itself, is that, I mean, that's 3 or 2% from that, and that's a very cheap game. If it's a more expensive game, you know, these things still kind of, you know, this still kind of applies. Like, you're still paying with Unity Pro 15 cents per install if you have less than 100,000 installs. By the way, I should mention this is per month. But you know what's annoying as I sit here and read this table and also try to explain to you guys that it's actually not that bad, the fee itself. It's the fact that, like, I have to read this table, I have to think about this, it's per month, I have to think about how these fees are calculated, which we'll get to the calculating of this later as well. It's just very, very confusing. Like, it's just not really that obvious how much money I'll be paying. And also that's gonna vary per month, because if I get, you know, 50,000 installs one month, and all these installs really makes me think of mobile games, which makes sense because Unity is obviously kind of targeting that a lot. But, you know, 50,000 installs one month might mean 15 cents, 7.5 cents per install if it's above 100,000. Like, this is all very, very confusing. But I guess what I'm trying to say in Unity's defense, and this is, by the way, is probably going to be the only thing I say in Unity's defense. So if you're a fan of Unity, just cherish this part of the video. The end result, like the fee you will be paying, is probably going to be quite low. And if we compare this to another serious engine, Unreal Engine, who just takes 5% if you are above $1 million, this is likely going to be cheaper. Likely. I'm sure there are scenarios in which this will be more expensive, but I have a feeling, just from looking at this table, that it will be cheaper. Now, compared to Unreal's 5%, this is infinitely more complex. 5% of just your money makes a lot of sense. There's no, but how much money are you making from these games? Or how much money are you selling them for? You know, is this in-app purchases that might be like 99 cents? Because again, mobile games, right? Mobile games are not usually huge, you know? For a desktop game that's $70, you might look at this and be like, yeah, 20 cents per install, whatever, right? But obviously for mobile games, it might be $1.99, 99 cents. They might have in-app purchases. Like, this is all getting a little bit fuzzy as to how much money I'm gonna be spending on this versus just, hey, it's 5%, man. Like, I'm paying 5% of whatever my game makes. I'm paying for the base set of technology that I'm using to make the game, which again seems super fair, because 5% is not that much, especially considering that if you were to go out and invest in engineers to build that technology yourself, you would be spending much more money than 5% of the game that you are making, unless potentially you're a multi-billion dollar AAA company. If you make more money, well, it's a percentage, it's 5%, so it scales. If you make less money, it's a percentage, it's 5%, it scales. It makes a lot more sense than this garbage. Now, hard to understand aside, how do we measure installs? And more importantly, users don't pay per install. They buy the game, and then they can install it on multiple computers. They can uninstall it. They might be running out of disk space. I need to uninstall it. I need to install it again. What if I want to install it? What if I have 3 computers? I have like a work computer, I have a home computer, and I have a laptop for traveling. I like this game, I want to install it. You know, that's 3 times potentially. The way that the gaming market works is you don't pay to install stuff on your device. You buy a copy of the game, it's stored in your account, you pay once for it, and then you obviously install it on whatever device you want. So there's this disconnect immediately between how developers make money and how developers have to pay Unity. Because if developers make money one single time during one transaction, assuming this isn't like some recurring payment for an in-app purchase for a mobile game or whatever, let's just go with a flat kind of one singular transaction, then why are they paying Unity per install? That is kind of weird. And of course, users could reinstall the game many, many times, and maliciously also potentially create scripts, as people have pointed out, that just download and install the game over and over again in an effort to attack and hurt the developer. Now, here's the kicker. Unity have come out and said that, oh yeah, don't worry, reinstalls, like, they're not counted. Fraud? Yeah, like, reach out to us, you know, if you've got fraud, but don't worry, we're not going to charge you for that. And also, come to think of it, how many times have these games been installed? How do I know how many times my game has been installed? Well, Unity apparently have some kind of proprietary installation tracking software that is essentially a black box, from what I understand. Correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I understand, it's a black box of proprietary tech and tracking that will tell Unity how many times your game has been installed by users. And the consensus really seems to be kind of like, just trust me, bro. Like, just, Unity's gonna call you up one day and be like, mate, I'm so proud of your game. You know, I'm so glad you made it with Unity. You know, it's amazing to see your success. Thanks, Unity. We just wanted to congratulate you on crossing 1 million installs. Like, that must be such a good feeling. You're so successful. Congratulations. Also, here's the invoice. And then the developer would be like, what? We made like $100,000 off of this. Like, I'm pretty sure that we're not that popular. Again, 1 million installs. You guys are doing so great. Thanks again for using Unity, and this is due at the end of the month. Like, what is this proprietary installation garbage? No wonder they need so many engineers, because instead of, like, whose idea is that? Whose idea is it to come along and be like, you know what? You know what we should be doing as a game engine? Let's invest engineering resources in creating a proprietary installation tracker so that we can figure out a way to make money in probably the most shady way possible, instead of just having a flat, like, I don't know, what makes sense? Like, well, how about 5% of whatever you make? Because, like, that's what everyone else does. That's literally revenue split for everything. YouTube AdSense, Steam Store, App Store, like everything. No. We're gonna do a per install thing that's gonna hide the real numbers from you. The method that we use to deduce those numbers is also not really going to be shared. You're going to have to trust us and our technology that we wrote to measure how much money you owe us. Like, what's going on? And to make matters worse, this isn't just like a new thing going forward. This is a thing that is applying to all games, as far as I understand. Like, it's a retrofit thing. It's happening from the 1st of January 2024 to every current Unity title. Right? Am I right in saying that? I don't know, it almost sounds unbelievable. Because that means that the terms of service that you signed, the pricing that you agreed to, pretty much contractually here, at this point, has been rewritten. In fact, it's been rewritten so hard that they just nuked the GitHub repository that had these terms of service. This is literally Darth Vader being like, I have altered the rules, pray I don't alter them further. That is the summary of this entire situation. And that is why I imagine people are so upset. Because what the heck? How can you just go ahead and do this? And what happens if further down the road you decide to do this again? Right? Because apparently they're backpedaling a little bit, or at least being like, we've taken your thoughts on board. Like, yes, we're aware of the backlash. Like, stay with us as we negotiate to maybe come up with a different solution, potentially. As of me recording this video, they haven't released any additional solution or like whatever their next steps are, but they're considering it. But again, what happens if they consider it? What happens if they go harder or change something? And can I just point out that, again, if you have Unity Pro, that's like $2,000 per year per seat. So like for a 3-person team, you're paying $6,000 per year, and then also this install fee, which is a little bit minimized, like it's 15 cents at the base level instead of 20. But can I just point out how this Unity Pro situation is literally so much more expensive than Adobe's entire suite of applications. Like, yes, I get that a game engine is more tech, and in a way, it's almost like the entire suite in one massive application, but that still feels crazy to me, considering if you release stuff, you also pay a royalty, especially when what seems to be Unity's primary competitor is Unreal Engine, which is completely free to use, didn't used to be that way, used to be $20 a month, so they're actually lowering their prices, and then just a 5% easy to understand royalty. If you make above $1 million, that's it. Oh, and the source code is available. The main source development repository for the engine is available for free as well. Now, while we're on the topic of Unreal being Unity's biggest competitor, I don't understand why that is. Like, yes, people always compare Unreal Engine and Unity, Unreal and Unity, and then there's like Godot, which used to be in the background, but now it's rising from the ashes. And like, the thing is, I like Godot and Unity, yeah, I absolutely see them as competitors, but I don't quite understand why Unreal Engine keeps getting in this and why Unity itself and their leadership seem to actively be chasing Unreal Engine and trying to provide what we call in the industry, I guess, an HD engine, meaning that like an engine that is capable of high fidelity, high quality graphics for the latest generation of consoles and high-end PC games as well. I honestly do not think Unity should be competing in that space. First of all, Epic Games has just completely, I don't know how to put this delicately, like they have taken the lead so hard in the high fidelity serious game development space that I think it might actually just be too late for Unity to try and reach that level unless something happens to Epic Games. And the thing is, it's not just like high-end 3D games that Unreal Engine does so well, it's the whole AAA experience. It's the whole, we have millions of dollars of budget to spend on a big game. We're gonna have really serious asset pipelines and really high quality assets. We're gonna have a team of engineers that can actually take that engine and extend it like we are a AAA production house, and we wanna use the best technology available on the planet to build this huge, like, I don't know, $100 million game. Like, in that space, Unreal Engine is king. Now, I just wanna say as a disclaimer, because I always feel like I have to mention things, otherwise some people will take what I say literally. Unreal Engine is not perfect. Nothing in this entire planet is perfect. I've got news for you, buddy. Nothing is perfect. There is no perfect engine. There is no perfect anything. So of course Unreal Engine has problems. Of course Frostbite has problems, even though those are kind of designed to be, you know, AAA engines. And of course, Unity has problems, hence this video. But the point is, why is Unity trying to compete with that when, well, actually, there's something Unity is good at, isn't it? Something that Unreal Engine apparently can't do very well, but Unity can? What was that again? Ah, yes, mobile and 2D. Huge markets, especially mobile. So if Unity is a better choice for mobile games and for 2D games than Unreal Engine, and mobile makes up a huge percentage of Unity's revenue and their market share, and to make matters even better for those kinds of, I guess, demographics, we'll say, of developers, not even demographics, but just the types of teams that might build those games, Unity is very easy to use. It's much easier to use. It's much more accessible in that sense compared to Unreal Engine, which is supposed to be a AAA engine. Like, it's just easy. It's just easier. Like, it's faster to get going. It's easier to understand. The technology is significantly worse, but that's fine for mobile and for 2D games. In fact, I think pretty sure the technology is better for that. Seems to be working better anyway. Why don't they focus on that? Why do they have to do things like acquire Weta, an amazing visual effects studio that Peter Jackson made for The Lord of the Rings that is obviously very high fidelity graphics? Why? Because Unreal Engine's doing like Mandalorian and all that kind of virtual production stuff, and they're making more like photorealistic and CG kind of tools for like offline use and for visual effects and for the film industry? Like, but you've got a good thing going with mobile and 2D. You're making money from that. Why do you need over 7,000 employees to try and just do everything when you have a plan that's working so well? It's not even, I don't even know if it's a plan or if it's just happened. And then they're like, no, but Unreal Engine. These guys are obsessed with Unreal Engine. I don't know what's going on. Like, I truly do not. This is the beginning of me looking into this stuff. Like, I might be wrong on so many fronts, and that's okay because this is not a news channel. Like, this is not a news channel. This is a Cherno puts up whatever video he wants channel. So forgive me if I'm wrong, but that is just unbelievable to me. The mismanagement that seems to be happening with Unity, and then people are saying, yeah, it's a CEO who used to be ex-EA, what do you expect? But then, like, it begs the question of, like, well, maybe actually EA was bad because of him, like, maybe he's the problem, since he seems to be doing this to every company. But anyway, I don't want to talk too much about, like, that, per se, because honestly, I just don't understand it deep enough, but it's just madness how their leadership seems to be going for things that I do not think they should be going for, and meanwhile, like, if we look at Epic Games leadership, Tim Sweeney, like the CEO of Epic Games, like, is first of all very present. I mean, he built this thing, right? Like, he knows stuff about game engines. He's very, like, present, I guess, I would say, in the community, especially compared to, you know, Unity's CEO and leadership. And just looking at how Unreal Engine have progressed down from lowering their prices. You know, if you love something, set it free. That whole thing, how they made Unreal Engine free, how the source code's available, how they decided, oh, I don't know, what's a good idea? Maybe we should make a game with our game engine. Like, wouldn't that be a good idea? Oh, what is the most popular game on the planet? And we have billions of dollars, which we can then use. And to top it off, it's a private company. This isn't like some kind of, this isn't Unity going public and then having this mandate, this legal obligation basically to make money for the investors. They have to make money. They're a business. That's what they do. No, Epic Games is private. Epic Games can do whatever they want. I mean, Epic Games is owned by Tencent, and there might be some, like, they might want them to do something, like make money, but still, it seems to be a different story. And even if they were a publicly traded company, like, they still made Fortnite, they still made billions, they're still seemingly profitable. I couldn't imagine them not being profitable considering they make so much more money, and they have less than half the employees, and their tech is just amazingly better. They have done things that no other game engine has done on this entire planet. Like, they have pushed, like, with Nanite and with Lumen and, you know, the whole ecosystem of what they've done with those systems, you know, and extended that into the rest of the engine. Like, that is a tremendous amount of effort. Anyway, I just don't know. I just don't know why Unity is going down that road when they could be the premium engine for independent developers who want to make more basic games for all platforms, and both indie and high-end developers who want to make mobile games or 2D games. Like, that could be their market. They could excel at that, and yet they're trying to do everything. And clearly, they're probably now realizing that you can't just throw engineers at stuff. You can't just throw more employees at everything, and stuff will work out. You actually have to manage those employees, and you have to have good leadership. So, I don't know. That's kind of, those are my thoughts. This is kind of dragging on. So I don't want to talk about Hazel, my game engine, too much in this video. I did promise I would talk about, like, the plan for the monetization and pricing. I will discuss that in depth in another video, but the gist is basically this. When Hazel has more features and is slightly more ready for actual, like, game development outside of, like, this is an in development engine, we are planning to release, like, the game engine itself, which means the binaries for it, so you can download it, install it, and use it for free. That's going to be 100% free. You can use Hazel to make whatever game you want, and you can sell that game and distribute that game, and there will be no royalty fees. It will be completely free for you. But, if you would like the source code of the game engine, along with all of, like, the shader code, and you want to tweak stuff, and you want to maybe extend the engine or learn from the source code, or you just want access to our internal, like, development repository, which contains all of the kind of features that aren't done yet, versions of the engine that might be a bit more bleeding edge but just haven't been properly QA tested and released because you want to stay more involved, or if you simply want to support the team, that's going to cost $10 US per month on Patreon. That is the deal. That is our transparent pricing. It's completely free to use to ship games like Godot would be, but because we need to make money, $10 per month if you want access to the source code and the development repository. So that is our plan. That is our master plan. We are not a public company. We are a profitable company, and so I don't intend that these prices will ever really change or go up or anything. I can't promise that for the rest of my life because I don't know what will happen, but at the moment, it certainly seems that way. So thank you for watching. If you would like to support Hazel right now, patreon.com/thecherno, that's how you can support us. We are trying to make it into a serious engine. We'll be starting work on an actual premium titled, like, you know, game that we are planning to release on Steam for PC on all platforms next year. So by then, by the time we start working on that game, we intend to, hopefully next year, have that binary free release ready to go, so you guys can use it for free and make games for free if you want. Thank you all for watching. What are your thoughts on this whole Unity pricing situation? Do you agree with me that Unity maybe shouldn't be chasing after Unreal and they should, I don't know, just focus on what they're good at? And also, can someone please explain to me why they have that many employees? Like, please. I just don't understand that. Anyway, drop the comments below. Love you guys. See you next time. Goodbye.